Ladies and gentlemen, we got another episode of Street Talk. Today we're sitting down with Van Johnson from Mississippi, a dating coach, a self improvement coach, and someone who starred on a really interesting show that I just watched. I kind of wanted to start right there on the Pop the Balloon. Is that cool? Is that a cool place to start?
Yeah, wherever you like.
Because that had a lot of views. That was like in the millions, right? So first, I wanted to talk about how did you end up on there? Like, what was the process there? Was like an open casting call? Or did you apply? Did they pick you? Does it like how does that even go? How does that come together?
Yeah, so at the end of each episode, if you watch, they'll be like, if you're interested in being on an episode, you can apply at blah blah blah, and they have a place where you can apply. So I did go ahead and go and apply, and I guess from there it's just up to whether they like your application or not, and they decide if they want to bring you on the show.
Okay, and so I mean, there wasn't really too much between that and then just suddenly you're on camera.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they contacted me back, asked if I wanted to come on the show, and I was like, "Hey, let's run it." And of course, a little bit of they let me know ahead of time, and then I went out to where the show is recorded, and that's that.
Was it so being on the show and like I don't know about you. I feel like you're a very confident guy. Like if I was on the show, you got a line of women, you got cameras. I don't know who's behind the camera, probably more people, right? You got the host. Was it did it feel awkward at any point?
Not for me particularly. I'm pretty comfortable in any situation. I've been on stage a lot. I studied vocal music education in college, so I've done a lot of performing, done some theater. So I'm used to cameras and things of that nature. So nothing crazy for me.
So you're very comfortable. I did see one of the clips that they put up. I can't remember how they worded it, but they said that they were like they didn't pick him, so he just like ridiculed him or something like that. Or did you feel like that? Did you feel like you're? Because I didn't think you were like that mean, but
No, I actually I never came at the ladies. I know they framed it that way, which I thought was kind of funny. I know why they put it that way, though. It simply comes to the fact that I'm just going to be blunt here, there are a lot of weak, feminine, pussy men. They're afraid that they won't be able to get women, or they already can't get women, and they're afraid that if they tell them the truth, then they definitely won't get what they want. Whereas me, I don't care. They weren't up to my most of them weren't up to my
I think it
standard
was
of
only the last
fitness.
one, right? I think was the last girl that you were just like, yeah, I
Yeah,
like her.
yeah. That last one,
Yeah,
I would have rocked with her. She had the right. I don't know if you could feel it through the camera, but she had the right energy. She also was more at my fitness standard.
yeah.
Then there was the tall one with all the tattoos.
She
Her,
was really digging you.
yeah. She was
Yeah,
a vibe. Just for me, like I said on the show, it was just the too many tattoos
yeah.
for me personally, and then the type of rooms that I'm in.
Hmm.
It wouldn't necessarily fit with me with where I'm going.
What was the goal to get on the show? Just more as like a um exposure type of move, or were you actually looking for love on this thing? Like,
Well, believe it or not, I was fully open to the idea of finding someone on the show. However, I love psychology
yeah,
and I understand human psychology really well. As such, I'd had the show planned out to a T. I didn't expect to find any. I was open to finding someone there, but I wasn't expecting to, just because if you understand human psychology and female psychology, to
hmm,
be more specific, and then they're all, chocolate women like myself, so I also included, you know, chocolate female psychology. All of the things just lined up to where I knew I would not find it. I knew that they would all pop their balloons. So I knew that was going to happen before I went on the show.
Do you feel like shows like that attract women with toxic traits? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm saying that in a nice way, but
Yeah. Yeah, I would say to some extent, because for the most part, women have a lot of options. Pretty
yeah,
much all women have a lot of options. Most 80% of men will date most all women.
I agree.
So, as such, they have a lot of options. So, the question then becomes, if you're a female, why do you have to come on a show like that? And you have to consider that.
Yeah.
Like, you have so many options, but you ended up here. Why?
Right. So I was wondering after the show, because like I said, the views were like in the millions. Like, were you like getting hit up, or is there like it's getting this like a bunch of attention after that, where like the DMs blowing up and stuff? Like, was there a big result from like that many views on the show for you?
Yeah, there definitely was an influx. I started taking social media seriously, so I'd already started picking up. And then when that came, I noticed even more of an influx. So it definitely did help in that regard with some exposure. Really, it did exactly what I anticipated it would do, not just in terms of the exposure, but gave me a chance to demonstrate my expertise of psychology and my expertise of just understanding people. Because I don't know if you read the comments, all that type of stuff, but they went in on my outfit, they went in on my hair, just mostly all negative stuff. Why are you wearing an afro? Cut that ish off, Look at the way you're dressed. You playing a character. What are you supposed to be? Jimi Hendrix from the set.
One of the
All
girls
this
said that,
stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I thought that was funny because she said character like energy. And I've gotten that my entire life where my natural way of being, people think or assume that I'm playing some character. And I think it's, what's the term called? They're essentially projecting because most people, unfortunately, they do play a character. They just don't play a very well known, or they do a poor job at it.
yeah.
But me, I don't play a character. I've gotten Jimi Hendrix, doggone man, I have a whole list of names that I've been called. I've gotten so many. Most of them, like Jimi Hendrix, I know the name. I don't know who that is. I don't know what he looks like. The only one I know is Michael Jackson and John Legend. Those are
Yeah.
the only two names I've gotten that I know. But there's a long list of them.
Okay.
Prince, all of this. This is me.
Yeah. So you can't say that you were influenced by them in any way because you're like, I don't even know who that is. So
Absolutely not. Like you
Yeah.
could show me a picture and say, "Do you know who that is?" In fact, I was on a podcast and a guy did that, and I don't know this. I don't know who these people are. I just know their names because the names are so popular.
I am interested in kind of what inspires you to be you in a way. Like if we can move on to like the dating coach part, which I think some of your personality has to do with that. Maybe I don't know, or you know what I mean, like your image, your kind of characteristics and stuff like that. Like I guess first, where did that originate? Where did you decide I'm gonna be a dating coach? I'm gonna teach people or teach men how to date.
So that started honestly way back when. I always knew that I would say I was meant, in a certain manner of speaking, for the limelight, if you will. So I've always been into music. So I sing, I act. So, and then I watched this movie years ago. I was a kid back when I watched this, but it was Hitch with Will Smith.
Okay,
Will
yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
that's probably to date my favorite movie of all time. And when I saw that movie, and based on my personality and the fact that uh, even growing up or anytime I was around people, I was always, if you will, the voice of reason, the person advising. And so I knew from that point I came up with this concept. I call it the professional wingman. And I knew one day I would become what I called the professional wingman, and I would help guys in that regard. So I started as a life coach, and then that was back in 2020, 2021, and did really well in that regard. But I was coaching men and women. And then 22, 23, just it's gotten worse and worse for men. And I realized now it's the time. So I jumped in on it.
What are the issues that you're seeing? Like you must see something in men, right? Where you're just like, oh, like I know how to fix that, or I know what's wrong here. Like, is there common stuff that you're seeing, or
Absolutely. Believe it or not, and this is the crazy part. It's what's this last a couple of maybe 3 weeks ago now, something like that. I had in 72 hours over I think 300 men reach out to me.
wow?
So I do content on social media, of course, and yeah, three over 300 men, not just from the U.S. I'm talking. So of course, U.S., UK, Australia, Ghana, Nigeria, multiple countries in Africa, from the Caribbean areas like Trinidad and Tobago, guys from the Middle East, guys from India, literally all over the world. Same common problems. So people talk about how, oh, women don't have freedoms in Middle Eastern countries, different things like that. Yet the men are still contacting me, and it's common issues. They're being cheated on by their women. They don't feel respected by their women, or they're basically being run over by their women. Their women listening to their mothers more than they'll listen to them. It's always the same common issue. So then there's also the types that they can't get girls at all. They just girls are just not interested in them. So, but it's all common things. And then as to the question of the things that I knew I could help with, um, there's erectile dysfunction skyrocketing. I don't know if you see all the ads for, oh, for Hims, Blue Chew, all of these.
Yeah, but is it like in the younger crowd you're seeing it too?
Yes.
Okay, because I always
Even
assumed that was for like the
not
older
even
crowd. Yeah.
even with like 20 something year olds.
Huh.
It's going crazy. Um Porn addiction, um I don't know if I can use that term on here. So I'm going to say self-pleasure addiction.
You can say whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can say
yeah.
whatever.
So yeah, masturbation addiction.
Yeah.
Um, what else?
How do you actually, if we can pause right there, because that is like I feel like a kind of a crazy issue now. Like porn is available in amounts and in ways that I don't think it ever has been in history. You know what I mean? Like kids with phones now can see the craziest shit, you know. And I know you said this before we started rolling, and you've got like a Christian background, is that right? Or you didn't really say what
Yeah,
denomination, but yeah.
yeah. Christianity
Uh,
was my
and I don't know
upbringing.
if that's still your belief or if you've got any kind of roots in it or anything like that, but kind of and being a dating coach, which is trying to connect real life people to each other, right? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about like the accessibility of porn and just like how it's kind of everywhere now?
Well, it's definitely not a good thing, but it's not something that we can change. So it's not about changing it, but adapting to it. I'm not looking to waste energy on something that I know is not possible. Women, we had this whole sexual liberation movement in the Western countries, and that just is what it is. Women aren't going to stop. That's their choice. So it's up to the men to stop watching it. So that's what I focus on, because that's actually damaging men's ability to connect with real live women. Like literally in science, it affects their ability to connect. It affects their ability to actually be aroused by real live women. It affects their motivation, their ambition. That's why you're seeing all of these weak, pussy, feminine, lazy men. Well, that's just one of the many attributing factors. So I don't agree with all the access to porn, and I suggest men don't watch it ever at all for any reason. There's no reason to watch it. If you're too weak to attract a woman, you don't deserve any type of pleasure. That's just how I see that. So if you want to actually get some type of pleasure, stop masturbating, stop watching porn, get your skills up, get your finances up, whatever you have to do to actually attract the real live woman. Stop being a pussy. That's how I feel about it.
I listened to one of your, it might have been a short, I don't, or one of your videos, and you did kind of ramble off like the things that a man needs to be like a top 20%, and it was be in shape, be financially set. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly how you said it. Um, I mean, things I think most people that like kind of watch this, like or kind of pay attention would kind of know, you know what I mean? But how do you feel about women? Because like women have the ability to make way more than six figures doing things like OnlyFans and stuff like that. And I know that's obviously in the porn category, like like majorly. And you're telling men don't watch that. Is that empowering for women, or should women not do that?
If they believe it's empowering for them, then that's their belief. My thought, there's no power in that at all, because all it does to the men that they actually want, it makes them reprehensible. It's quite, just put it point blank and period, it's quite disgusting. The men that they want will not want them doing that, and that's just pretty much fact. The only, I would say, higher quality men that'll want them in that regard, I would say, is weaker men that just happen to come into a lot of money, or maybe they happen to get a break in, maybe they were good at sports or music or whatever the case, and they happen to get a break, but they don't actually really understand um, female dynamics and what that does to women and what that will lead to. Because I'm pretty sure you're not going to catch someone like The Rock dating probably being serious with a OF or someone that used to
Yeah.
be a prostitute or something like that, or any really top quality man. Probably just not going to be interested in that.
I'm getting, so I'm kind of feeling like you've got traditional values, maybe like,
To some extent, I would not go so far if we're talking about um, people confuse traditional with traditional, and I'm gonna be, the best way I know how to say this is traditional white Christian values, and that's different from what I classify as traditional. These
oh, I was gonna say, if I mean, I can say what I was thinking, so that way it like I'm not forcing you to say something, but I was like the man goes to work and the woman raises the kids, and like the power dynamic that they would have, and like that type of thing. That's what I meant by like traditional? Is that in uh kind of the same thing that like Christian values would have? Um, is that kind of your way of thinking, or is that?
Yeah, partially. I'll just say what I notice a lot in white Christianity. There can be a bit of these men basically thinking they I don't know, they rule over women with the iron fist. Women are almost their slaves. No, I don't quite believe in that. But traditional in the sense that yes, the man should be the protector. He should be a provider. He should be the leader, and he should have some authority over his wife or his woman or whatever the case. Absolutely, because um, if you're going to be a protector, a provider, that then demands that you have some authority. Now, do I believe a woman should just stay at home and take care of the kids? That's between that guy and whatever man she's with. If that's the dynamic they choose to have, that's great. For me personally, that would probably be more the way. I wouldn't lean that way immediately because if I don't have kids, I can cook. I cook very well, better than most women. I clean. I'm very meticulous, better than most women. I don't need a woman to cook or clean for me or do any of that stuff. If I don't have kids, then what are you doing at home? That's kind of how I would think about it. So probably should be doing something, but um, I think the dynamic of the man, if he's at a point where he can take care of everything and they have kids, I think that's a great way to do it with her more so raising the kids because public school definitely ain't doing us no good. So
And I've heard you mention some of those things in your videos. I mean, you don't say it specifically like traditional males should protect and provide stuff. And maybe you have, but I didn't see those ones. But so as a dating coach, is the goal to get a match and, for people to like, I guess, does your job end once you get them in a relationship, or are you like, do some of those values that you have play into it, which I feel like would make it harder to get a match? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
yeah, I get what you're trying to say, and no, my job doesn't necessarily end at a match. For example, I just came from Salt Lake City, Utah. Met a guy there, James, one of my more recent clients, and he'd been searching, trying to find something serious for over 3 years. Couldn't find anything. Within 48 hours of working with me, I'd introduced him to basically his perfect match. They've been talking, dating now for I guess a few weeks. They're already in a relationship, so great for him. But did my job end there? Absolutely not, because the fact he couldn't find what he was looking for all of that time, there's a reason why, and there's many reasons why, and there's also there's a lot of things that would then also lead him. He wanted a long-term relationship. Well, he doesn't have the quality to maintain a healthy long-term relationship, right? So I also have to instill certain qualities or teach certain traits. So it's a lot more than just about finding a woman. Cause what's this guy's name? I can't remember this football guy's name. Travis Hunter, maybe. I think that's his name. He idiot. Everybody was telling him not to marry this girl. Idiot did it anyway, and now they're talking about, and they've not even been married for a year, and talking about this divorce is probably gonna cost this idiot $40 million.
Oh, damn.
I find that hilarious because everybody was telling the dude, but like that. Okay, he got an attractive woman, but why did you get her? Probably because she knew you were weak. She knew she could use you, and so she did to get that money. So normally I work with men for 3 months to actually take them through step by step. Um, here is how female psychology works. So you need this, and this to actually become attractive to women. Now, once you start getting the women, how do you filter out what you actually want? So it's multiple things that goes into that.
Okay, so you stay there for a while and you kind of
Yeah,
like
normally, yep,
to go.
normally 3 months, so they can go through the full program and know everything they need to know about finance, concepts like not leading with your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
They need to learn what hypergamy is. They need to learn what pre-selection is. Um, if they don't have any fashion sense, then we go into the image consulting part, how to actually look good, then how to actually have the right energy, because that's a big part of it. I often don't even approach women. I walk into a room, and if you will, the room bends to me. Both men and women, they flock to me. I don't say anything. I don't walk into a room and say, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
It's just a lot about energy that makes people, you become the magnet in the room, and everybody wants to be near you and want to get to know you. Who's this guy? So that's a big part of it, and you can't really learn that stuff in a couple of days. So
Gotcha. Um, was, did you ever read the 48 Laws of Power?
I haven't read that one yet.
What you just said is one of them. It's I can't remember. It was so long ago when I read it, but anyways, if you ever do, you'll be like, hey, I already knew that. Yeah. If you ever
Okay,
read it. So,
cool.
anyways, I was wondering, how do you feel about arranged marriages? I had this conversation the other day, and I'm divorced at this point. Like, I've kind of seen, I guess, a lot of different sides of relationships, and I always thought that arranged marriages were a crazy idea, like insane to me, until I got older and I was like, I'm not saying I'm like for them or like advocating them, but I'm like, oh, okay, it's starting to make sense now in a way. How do you like? What is your take on them? How do you feel about them?
Well, same. I wouldn't necessarily advocate for or against. That's, I would say, to each their own. Culture, based on their culture, they do what they do. But do I think they're a bad thing? No, because if you look at the statistics, I mean, to me, looks like back in the day, the marriage statistics were a lot better. Now, are there numerous factors as to why? Yes, but at the end of the day, the successful marriage rates, I would say, were way higher when arranged marriages were more of a common thing. So I, I can't argue against them by any means, but I also don't necessarily argue for them.
Okay, and that makes sense, and I think that's kind of the same insight that I'm like kind of starting to get. You know, if you're looking for relationships that are working, so are you, and this is kind of going back to you being having traditional values or not, because, and the reason why I keep going back to it, I should preface this by saying, before we turned on the camera, you said that a lot of people from your past didn't kind of agree with your lifestyle or whatnot now, right? Like it seems like maybe alternative in a way. I don't know how to put it. But a lot of what you're saying sounds like it lines up with like what the church would say in a way, but maybe you just have it like a new way, like a more modern way of putting it. And so with saying that, my question is, do like how do you feel about marriage? Like, do you feel like that's something that people want to achieve, like get married, have kids, like, pursue that lifestyle, or stay in the dating world, like, have a lot of partners, or I guess, how do you feel about that? Like,
But again, I'm gonna say first, to each their own. I don't coach from Christians. Things will often ask me, is my community a Christian community or something like that? And the answer would be no, um, because attraction does not have a religion. Attraction is attraction. It's based on how we are psychologically and biologically designed. So, no, I don't teach dating from a Christian perspective, because that doesn't even make sense if you really think about it. Women aren't attracted to you because you're a Christian. It doesn't really make sense. So, as to I get the question itself, I am marriage in the West. Mm, I'm not really for it. I teach my men. I teach my men an alternative way of doing that. There's a lot of protections that have to go into place, in my opinion, especially if you're a man that you're building something, you're making something of yourself. You just have to protect yourself because there's no benefit to marriage for a man in the West. For example, me, just realistically, I get way more attention from women than I can do anything with. So, I mean, anything that I want from a woman, I can get without being married. So then the question becomes, why do I need to get married when there's no benefit but only a negative aspect? So if I was going to do that, I would definitely not get married through the state, even with prenups and all of that stuff. I would just not get married under the government, point blank and period. That would be my advice. There's no benefit to it. It only can end badly.
Okay. So speaking on advice, and we're kind of getting to the end a little bit here. Do you have general advice that you would give? Let's just say men, like men that are looking for women, because that's like a thing now. The incels, like the guys that are like trying to get women but just can't now because the standards have changed so much. Do you have maybe general advice for men? For
Yeah, it's your fault. It's not all of these men. It's always about her. Oh, the standards have changed. Women are unrealistic. Blah 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 blah. I get sick of hearing it, to be honest, because I don't disagree with that. Standards have changed, right? It used to be we didn't have Instagram and all of this stuff. It used to be if you're Bobby Joe in Birmingham, Alabama, her options are you and the other guys and maybe 100-mile radius in the cities around her. That's just not how it is anymore. So being the top football player at your high school isn't enough. Sorry about it. So it's time to level up. Yes, women have unrealistic standards, a lot of them, absolutely. But my question then for men becomes, how does it benefit you to sit there and continue blaming women for every single thing? Because this is how you have to think about it. If no woman is interested in you, it cannot be their fault. If you cannot get a single woman or you barely get women, it cannot be them. It's you. Because even though, yes, women's standards have gotten kind of unrealistic, that is not every single woman. It simply just comes down to you're not quality. Because if I get, you should see my freaking dating app. To be a man, I turned it off because I was getting too many matches. It was too much for me. Well, I talk to guys, they get anywhere, some of them getting 1-3 matches a month. I'm getting 20 plus matches in a day. That's your fault. That's your fault, bro. If I can do it, you can do it. But you keep blaming women and you're not asking yourself, what am I doing? Like I had a consultation or a strategy call with the guy not too long ago, and he said exactly that. Oh, I don't know, women this, women that, women that, women that. And I started to ask him some questions because I don't like to answer the question for people. I like to let them answer it for themselves. So I asked some questions, and the long and short of it, we came to the fact that he masturbates every day. He watch multiple times a day, mind you. He watches porn every day. He's not really making great money. He looks decent. Could definitely work out and be in better shape. He's never been able to get a date. Never had a girlfriend. Nothing. 23 years old. Well, let's just examine this for a moment. If you understand the science and everything, well, why do you seek after women anyway? For one, if we go to the baseline, you want sex. That's
Like
just
natural instinct.
yeah, baseline. Well, if you're sitting there like an idiot masturbating and watching porn every day, where's your you just got your instant fix? Where's your motivation to actually improve yourself, to make more money, to become valuable, to look good, to go to the gym? You have no motivation because you keep giving yourself this stupid, worthless quick fix that only leads you and just digs it just digs a ditch for you. So that if the most general advice I would give is it's your fault. Always look at yourself first. But I would also say that for women. Same thing for the women. If you're not finding the man you're looking for, it's your fault.
Yeah. Become attractive, right?
That's all it is. If
yeah,
you're
male
not
or
getting
female,
it,
yeah.
if you're
Become
not getting
attractive
what
to
you
the
want,
people you want to.
you have
All
to
right.
examine yourself.
No, I love that. That's really good advice, I think. We're right at the end, though. If you could just tell us where to find you, if you got anything coming up that we need to be aware of, what your links are, all that type of stuff, just go ahead and say it right into the camera for me, please.
Definitely. So, of course, you can find me. I'm your main man, Van Johnson. You can find me at _ Van Johnson, VanJohnson on Instagram, TikTok, and I'm pretty much on all the platforms. Snapchat, Van Johnson 94, YouTube at Van Johnson, pretty much Van Johnson on everything. And then you can find my premium community. It's the Brethren community. You can find the link in my bio on TikTok or on Instagram. And because so many men have been reaching out to me, and a lot of them can't, shall we say, afford my premium service, they actually did start running a special. So if you're one of the next 100 men to join, you can actually join the community for only $99. Only $99 a month, and you get access to all of my coursework. You get access to a community of men, a growing community of men from, men joining from all over the world. You also get access to actually being able to make money in this community. So it's about the Brethren community. It's about brotherhood, bringing men together and having support again. But also it builds you up not just in how to, date and attract women, but also how to actually become what I call a top 20% man. So, of course, we talk about finances, mindset, all of that. And you actually have the ability to make a significant income in the community without even having to do a whole lot of extra work. I actually give you access to my library of content, but you will have to join the community to hear more about that. So I also have a free community for those that aren't ready to really level up yet. They just want some starter info on Discord. And you can also find that at my, in my bios.
All right, we'll add all the links to the end. I'll get them all from you and stuff like that. So when you see it, that sounds like a great opportunity. Sounds like people should definitely check that out, especially if you are affected by any of the things that we were just talking about or just really have an interest at all. It sounds like, Van's got a lot of interesting things that he can tell people about, teach them, get them in a better position than they are right now.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you for being on here, sharing your stories, sharing your experiences, and that's it.
All
We're
right.
finished.
Well, if I